Yeshua What's the link?
Shana Tova. I'm so glad that you are here with us this evening to welcome the new year, 5781. I feel confident that none of us could ever have imagined a Rosh Hashanah quite like this. But here we are. For thousands of years and all sorts of situations, Jews have marked this time as sacred with special prayers and special music. And we will too, wherever we are gathered, around televisions, computers, tablets, phones, some of us here in San Antonio, others in different cities and towns in Texas, around the country, and even around the world. Our strange reality allows us to be together in ways that we have never been before. So get ready to sing along, to stand and to sit, and with all the sincerity of spirit that you can muster, make your prayers this Rosh Hashanah real. We'll begin on page 12 in your High Holy Day prayer book, setting our intentions for this season of renewal. To everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven.
This is the season of the soul, a time to rejoice, a time to reflect, a time to return.
A time to gather around the table with loved ones and friends, a time for song and silence, for prayer and confession to open the heart, a time to retreat to our sanctuaries within, a time to renew the life and spirit of our community.
This is the season of attentiveness, a time to notice what has unfolded and what has not, a time to regret, a time to forgive, a time to remember cherished dreams and high ideals erased by reality.
This is the season of hope, like mist rising at sunset, like dew descending at dawn. Our hopes beautify and nourish everything they touch. Our hopes make us partners in creation, pursuers of peace, people who aspire to a world of justice.
This is the season of awe. When our eyes behold it, may we feel blessed. When we turn toward each other, let us feel strength. When we seek the holy, may we feel purpose and find purpose. May we find courage. May we find love.
We turn now to page 11. It's my honor to call up our president, Dr. Amy Benedict, to help us kindle our Yom Tov lights.
The first mitzvah in the Torah is let there be light. So we are commanded, in everything you do, be a menorah, a bringer of light. Live with honor, act with integrity, do your work with passion, and the radiance of your deeds will live after you. May our ideals burn bright, forever, unextinguished. And may we live our lives like the flames we kindle, always stretching upward, striving for the good, reaching for you. Can I use this? Thank you. Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, teaching us holiness through sacred obligations, giving us the mitzvah of bringing light on Shabbat and this festival.
We now continue with Kiddush.
Lift this cup for the year that is gone, for mountaintop moments and the taste of joy, celebrations shared, milestones met, all we've mastered and achieved since we last met.
For all we've learned, for all we've struggled through, for challenges surmounted and disappointments met with courage, for last moments shared with those we have loved and lost, for parents and grandparents whose memories are with us forever. We lift this cup for the year that is gone, for the year that begins. May we meet in its strength, in unity, in hope. We lift life's cup and celebrate survival. So may we sanctify each day that is ours.
rise and join me in the blessing of hearing shofar in the middle of page 15. Baruch atah Adonai, shomea kol truah, amo Yisrael berachamim. Blessed are you in our lives, Adonai. You hear with love the shofar, true voice of your people Israel. Tekiah.
Hineni, the traditional prayer leader's confession as High Holy Day worship begins. It is part admission of inadequacy and self-doubt, part affirmation of the powerful efficacy of prayer. To lead the congregation through the days of awe is a daunting responsibility. To facilitate each of our personal journeys towards teshuvah is a monumental task, made even more challenging when we are not physically together. But above all, Hineni reflects the humility and self-awareness necessary for approaching God during the days of awe, and for the task of cheshbon hanefesh, taking account of our souls. Ultimately, it is our combined prayers that will merit God's mercy and our renewal. As you listen to the haunting melody of Hineni, we invite you to offer your own personal reflection using the words that will be on the screen, also found on page 16, or the deepest prayers that are in your heart. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Yehi ratzon shenizkeh levirchotecha b'shnat chameshet alafim v'shava ma'ot v'shmonim ve'echat. Elohei olam barech otanu, ve'et kol beit Yisrael b'chidush yamenu, b'simcha u'v'shalom, b'nechama u'va'ometz lev, b'chilut atzmot u'varuach etana. Yehi pri sifatenu mikubal v'ratsui milfanecha. Bifros Hashanah HaChadasha la'ad modim anachnu lach al matanat hachayim. Our God and God of our ancestors, may we know your blessings in the year 5781. Eternal One, bless us and the whole house of Israel with renewed life, happiness, and peace, comfort, and courage, resilience, and strength. May the words of our heart be acceptable to you. In the new year that stretches before us, we are forever grateful for the gift of life. We rise now for the Baruch Hu on page 20.
We turn now to page 25 for an alternative introduction to Shema. Blessed are you, eternal our God, sovereign of the universe, who has sanctified us by commandments and commanded us regarding the reading of the Shema, to declare God's reign with a whole heart, to declare God's one with a good and willing heart, and to worship God with a good and willing spirit.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malachuto
You may be seated. We continue on page 28. You shall love Adonai your God with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength. Set these words which I command you this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be a symbol before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. Thus you will become holy to your God. I, Adonai, am your God, who brought you out of Egypt to be your God. I, Adonai, your God. We continue on page 33 at the bottom. You have stayed long enough in this place, God said. Time to go forward. Turn your face to the future. Believe that you can cross this sea and survive. Inside you is a Moses. Within you, Miriam dances, unafraid. Lift up your voice and sing a new song. Micha Mocha, page 34.
Micha Mocha b'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha nedar b'kodesh, Narut elot asef eleh, Malechutecha ra'u avnecha, Bokayam lifnei Moshe. Adonai et Yaakov ugolo miad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Gal Israel.
On Shabbat, we recite special prayers to remind us that just as God rested on the seventh day of creation, so too on the seventh day of our week, we are meant to cease from work and rest. On this one day, we are not meant to worry about the past or plan for the future. We are meant to devote ourselves fully to the present. We have nowhere to go and nothing to do. Everything is done, and we are already here. So we sing in gratitude for the opportunity to be in this moment of refreshment and renewal. Vishamru, page 38.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש.
We rise for the Amidah on page 42.
Adonai sefata tiftach ufi teilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, v'Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Kol mea chasadim tovim v'konei hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. זוכרנו לחיים, מלך חפץ בחיים, וכותבנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים חיים. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה, רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, וכמוך בגבורות ומידון מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, מי כמוך אל הרחמים, זוכר יצוריו לחיים ברחמים, ולמען אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני המלך הקדוש.
You may be seated. We continue on page 72 as we prepare for Misha Berach, our prayer for healing. We join in a prayer for those who are ill and for givers of care. May the Eternal One who blesses all life bless and strengthen all of us who struggle against illness. May we whose lives are touched by illness be blessed with faith, courage, love, and caring. May we experience the support and sustenance of family, friends, companions, and community. May we be granted restful nights and days of comfort. We pray for refuah shlema, precious moments of healing, and a sense of wholeness in body and soul. May those who care for the sick with their hands, their voices, and their hearts be blessed with courage and stamina. May those who pursue healing through medical skill and knowledge be blessed with insight, patience, and compassion. May all of us, the sick and the well together, find courage and hope. And let us say, Amen. We take a moment to think of those who are in need of healing, of mind, of body, and of soul. We think of those whose names are on your screen and those which are in your heart as we join together singing Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mikor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Please take a moment for your own silent prayers.
page 74. We rise. Avinu Malkeinu, strong was the faith of generations before us. In exile, they proclaimed enduring hope. In the shadow of persecution, they affirmed a transcendent love and compassion. Ours is a different age, less confident and certain, more tentative in its trust.
There are many who say to the works of their hands, "You are our gods." But when our worship centers on our own creations, we feel less gratitude, more doubt and despair. This is the paradox of our spiritual lives. We grow smaller in self-exaltation, nobler when we reach for you.
On this night of return, let us find the humility to come close to you and open ourselves to your presence. For you are absent only when we fail to make room for you in our hearts, distant only when we turn away from you. Now, as others have done before us, let us overcome doubt and speak these words of affirmation.
We call you Avinu, as loving parent, forgive our wrongs and failings, accept us in our human frailty. We call you Malkeinu, as sovereign of our souls, help us rise from our brokenness to build a world of shalom. To this vision, we offer ourselves anew.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koilenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu Lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol Aleinu.
As a little kid in the 1970s, my favorite television show was Zoom, a zippy and zany PBS program created almost entirely by children. I'm gonna zoom, 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 a zoom. I'm gonna zoom, a zoom, a zoom, a zoom, a zoom. Who would have imagined that 49 years later, I'd be walking around not only singing this catchy theme song, but living it, Zoom, the video conferencing platform that enables millions of us around the world to keep connected. It can be glitchy, exhausting, and even daunting. Am I muted? No. But it can also be wonderful. To see faces and not just hear voices can take away feelings of isolation. Classes, worship, baby namings, even memorials become more intimate. And collaborations can continue when it is not safe for us to be together in person. But all this glitchy, exhausting, intimate, essential connecting makes me wonder, what kept me from doing it before? I don't mean the cocktail parties and book groups with people in town kind of Zoom. I'm talking about the college friend reunions, cross-country cousin Netflix party meetups, and parental video check-ins. We've had this technology for years, so why are we only doing this long-distance connecting now? New York Times culture writer Ali Drucker asks, did I really not see my parents' faces for months on end, even over a screen, simply because I had the option of socializing with my nearby friends instead? Was I actually just super busy, or did I want to avoid confronting how much I missed them? How I was quietly nursing the loneliness of feeling like I might not truly know the people I can't see in person anymore. It's been 7 months of pandemic, 7 months since I last saw my parents, my siblings, and it's uncertain when it will be prudent or even possible to visit them in New York again. I miss them all so much, though the reality is I've gone longer without seeing them. So maybe it's not loneliness exactly, but a now unavoidable awareness of my own frailty and theirs. A recognition that in moving through our lives, we default to focus more on our busyness and less on the relationships that keep us whole. A little chaos is fun when you have control, or at least think you do, but the intentional chaos of that TV show is not so charming now that it's the constant backdrop of our lives. I would do anything for a little more structure and routine. It's not very comfortable to be here, but so it is. And the source of so much of our suffering is in wishing we were somehow, in some way, somewhere else. So rather than spend our time lamenting what we cannot control, let's envision a better now, even better, a post-COVID reality, where we are more clear about our priorities and more focused on taking care of ourselves and nurturing others, a reality in which we don't feel quite so alone. Tonight, you are not alone. You're with us. Tonight, we join all the generations that came before us as this most unusual new year unfolds. And the tools our people have relied on for millennia, tradition, community, and hope, can help us too as we weather these daily storms of uncertainty. One tool that speaks to this moment is the Talmudic text, Elu Divarim. We read it together every Saturday morning. Elu Divarim she'ein lahem shi'or. These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, making peace among people, but the study of Torah encompasses them all. Elu Divarim articulates the traditional rabbinic value system that emphasizes a connected and compassionate communal life. And as the teaching goes, there are tangible benefits now, as well as benefits that last long after we are gone. The particulars are straightforward. Take care of your elders, incorporate hospitality, compassion, generosity, kindness, study, and prayer into your life. But our sages remind us, ein lahem shi'or, they are also without limit. The traditional reading of this text suggests that while there is no maximum amount, a minimal effort is required. But also, these are perpetual tasks that we should always have in mind. I'll add a third meaning. With no outer limit, we have the responsibility to interweave these traditional ideals with the modern realities of our community, finding ways to bring uplift and connection to others. And in this current moment, we can reimagine ways to fulfill these obligations, staying safe while we create impact in our own lives and the lives of those we love. Elu divarim she'ein lahem shi'or. These are things that are limitless. Life cycle events, they've been hard. Funerals with more than 1 million present are prohibited. We now do brises from afar. Weddings have been postponed or pared down. Joyful moments are muted. Sad ones feel amplified in their loneliness. And yet life goes on, and so do these core Jewish rituals in spite of the pandemic. Look back across the expanse of our history. It is this moment that connects us to the tenacious spirit and innate abilities of our people. Slavery in Egypt, exile in Babylonia, expulsion from Spain, pogroms, the Shoah. Jewish existence has often been filled with uncertainty, fear, and danger. So many funerals, yes, but also brises, b'nai mitzvah, and weddings to celebrate too. Our rituals have always provided essential structure in our lives. So elu divarim, these are things our tradition requires us to do. Visit the sick, provide for the wedding couple, accompany the dead for burial. But it is the compassion, generosity, and kindness that underlie these mitzvot that make them so important. I'm not asking you to ignore your disappointment and sorrow, but I am asking you to place them in greater context and to take stock of what truly adds substance to your life. Because life cycle moments are markers in time. They help us differentiate between Kodesh and Chol, sacred moments and ordinary life, and we cherish them. But our tradition also values the daily miracles that surround us. I was very disappointed that my summer plans for study and travel were canceled and my kids didn't get to go to summer camp. But it's actually the mundane encounters, those daily miracles experienced with family and friends and colleagues, that I miss the most. Zoom meetings are productive, but they often lack creative energy. And I yearn for a leisurely dinner out with friends, or the satisfaction of an unexpected deep conversation at school or at shul. In pre-COVID times, I was always in a rush to get to the next meeting and had to motivate to go out just to have fun. Now I'm filled with anticipation as I cross the street to share an occasional glass of wine at my neighbor's fence or pop over to a friend's backyard pool, from 6 feet away, of course. Time together now feels much more special than it did when my calendar was full. Psychologist Liz Dunn explains why. Whatever we have, we tend to get used to it. So no matter what wonderful things come to our lives, over time the pleasure that they provide gradually diminishes. This phenomena is often referred to as the hedonic treadmill, conveying the idea that we're stuck and no matter how hard we try to get happier, we can't. And it turns out the way to fight this psychological phenomenon is to deprive ourselves a little bit. Without constant access to the things that we like. It may seem counterintuitive, but apparently the best way to experience enjoyment is to limit our exposure to what we desire most. Whether or not we intended to sign up for this psychological experiment, all this at-home time highlights its truth. At first, there was relief to see my life open up. No more carpool with my kids' activities canceled. More quiet evenings at home to catch up on my Netflix backlog. But now I would do anything to have somewhere to go. Any excuse to get dressed up and see everyone. I feel a wistful yearning for the life I used to live. But I also realized I was doing too much. Maybe you were too. If this time apart has emphasized anything, it is that busyness fills the hours, but not the space in our souls. This is a perfect time to ask ourselves some essential questions. What relationships nurture us and bring us satisfaction? What rituals give us comfort? What activities provide us with purpose and meaning? When the pandemic has subsided and we start to reconstruct our new lives, what do we want our reality to be? Elu divarim she'ein lahem shi'or. Recently, I started to think that I should make this prayer my mantra, but even better, make it my own. A list where intentions, both ancient and modern, intersect, that I can say to myself while I look in the mirror and brush my teeth each morning. Maybe you want to try it too. I started saying my personal Elu divarim to myself every day. Elu divarim she'ein lahem shi'or. These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world while the principle remains in the world to come. These are ways to make my life richer now and help me craft a legacy that I am proud to pass on to my children and my community. Focus on family. Reach out to my parents, my in-laws, my brother and sister every week just to ask, how are you? Reach deep for compassion. Study. Read every morning and night. Hospitality. Nurture relationships that bring me joy. Visit the sick. Make the call. Make the time. Provide for the wedding couple. Say yes to attend simchas whenever possible. Accompany the dead for burial. Be there even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Prayer. Work on quieting the voices in my head. Work on practicing gratitude. Make peace among people. Forgive them for their imperfections and missteps and pray that they will do the same for me. I've been reading these words every morning for a month now. Here's what I've noticed. I'm happier and I'm more focused. I try to be more careful about what I say and how I spend my time. I'm working on being more flexible with my expectations and reflecting more on what our present and future are likely to be. It's never going to be perfect or even linear, and there will be loss and sadness and disappointment. But ultimately, we'll get there, and that's the hope. Our obligations are limitless, but so are our opportunities. So, as we begin this new year, let us commit to creating our own mantra, words that center us, uplift us, remind us of our potential to share comfort and joy. Let us commit to the limitless work that is set before us, because when we are authentic in our attempts to be more compassionate, patient, and present, we reap the benefits now and in the world to come. Amen.
We return, we return, we return, we return, we return, return again. We return, we return, we return, we return,
We continue with Aleinu on page 82, and we invite you to please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asani k'goyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpechat ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamona. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We continue on page 87 with our memorial meditation. Let it not be said, death will come, its hand will not be stayed even an instant, nor can we enter into judgment with it. Our question, why, will go unanswered. But this does not mean that we are helpless in the face of death. We can and we do rob death of ultimate victory by living life as long as it is ours to live. To ask of death that it never come is futile, but it is not futility to pray that when death comes for us, it may take us from a world one corner of which is a little better because we were there. When we are dead and people weep for us and grieve, let it be because we touched their lives with beauty and simplicity. Let it not be said that life was good to us, but rather that we were good to life. Our thoughts turn now to those in our community who have died at this time in years past. As we mark their yahrzeits, we remember them. Morris Abrams, Sylvan Alter, Sadie Bear, Jerome Baskin, Forrest A. Bennett, Annette Bernstein, Marlon Boyer, Antonio Cepeda, Harriet Cohen, Norman Davis, Jerome J. Dawson, Angel Dominguez Benatar, Sari Epner Ferber, Harold Freeman, L. M. Gale, Leon Glasgow, Joan Goldberg, Irma Golden, Marie Goldman, Dorothy Goodman, Stanley Goodman, Milton G. Guggenheim Jr., Celia Hafkin, Nathaniel Nat Halpern, Dudley Himoff, Nina Kamen, Donald Kaufman, Hortense Sickle Kaufman, Raymond Kaufman, Marjorie Lackman, Bernard Lifshitz, Carl Loeb, Kenneth Mark Meyerson, Charles Moser, Edward Oppenheimer, Marguerite Firth Raymar, Molly Soloway Richardson, Pearl Romick, Florence Rosas, Fega Rosenberg, Jason Rosenstein, Irving Rubin, Jenny Seelig, Maxine Friedson Shaw, Harry Smolens, Rose Smolens, Pearl Stahl, Ella Herman Stern, Jeannie Stein, Merle Stileski Goldstone, Barry M. Sutton, Francis Greenfield Tabin, Sam Tobin, and Regina Weinfeld. To these names, we add those who've died in the past month, whose families are in a mourning period of Shloshim. We remember Beatrice B. M. Chapa, Laura Richmond, Michael Stern, Rose Dryseson, John Roach, and Marlene Gloria Cardin. We also add the names of those who've died this past week, whose families are in a mourning period of Shiva. We remember Betty Health, mother of Dundee Murray and Melissa Cross, grandmother of Luke Jeffrey, sister-in-law of Sally Health, and many generations of nieces and nephews. Rosalie Jean Hardy, mother of Michael and Sally Hardy, grandmother of Devra Hardy and Jenna and Gina Ross, great-grandmother of Ayla Hardy and Mia and Aviva Ross. To all of these names, we add those which are in our hearts each and every day as we join together in Kaddish Yatom on page 90, and I invite you to please rise as a congregation. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'yizman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam ulmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha brichu, Le'ela mikol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'elma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, u'ya'asei shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the source of peace bestow peace on all who mourn, and may we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved. And together we say, Amen. You may be seated. It is my honor to call forward Dr. Amy Benedict to give tonight's announcements.
L'Shana Tova. I am Amy Benedict, president of Temple Beth-El. I'm so pleased that all of you could join us this evening to welcome in 5781. First, I want to thank everyone who's been involved in transforming our services to an online platform. This took a village, and we are all grateful. The names of all those involved will be listed in our bulletin. We have many online opportunities which can be found on our website with directions on how to participate. But please, if anything's confusing and you need help, give us a call and we'll be there for you. This coming Sunday, join us for our Tashlik service at Woodlawn Lake Park at 10 a.m. as we gather in person for a socially distanced Rosh Hashanah ritual of casting our sins into the water with a handful of birdseed. Our clergy will lead a brief ceremony and we will conclude with the blowing of the shofar. Participants are required to wear a mask. Also this Sunday, the Temple Beth-El cemeteries will be open. A formal service will not be held, but a copy of the service can be found online on our High Holy Day webpage. There will be a police officer at the cemeteries from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Last Sunday, we accepted donations for the annual food drive during our car caravan drive-through. All donations are being made to the San Antonio Food Bank. Monetary contributions are welcome through our High Holy Day website, and also on the announcements that came out yesterday, you can donate through that site also. The drive-through was an amazing success. We had more than 100 cars come by, and I truly enjoyed meeting and greeting each of you. Tomorrow morning, services will begin with our Rosh Hashanah family service at 9 a.m. Rosh Hashanah morning services will begin at 10:30. Our exceptional COVID-19 task force continues to meet every 2 weeks, led by our infectious disease specialists, Dr. Bergren and Dr. Lerner, to help us plan how to safely reopen our synagogue. This temple team is extensively involved in all the details, including airflow, disinfection, distancing, and more. We are starting to have outdoor gatherings, which will begin with our Tashlik service on Sunday, and I'm excited to share with you that we will be offering outdoor Sukkot services. We will keep you informed when we have the exact dates and times. If the case numbers of COVID-19 in San Antonio stay stable or decrease, we will re-enter our building after Sukkot. Now that we've concluded our temple business, I want to share with you what I have been calling wellness moments. At the conclusion of Friday night Shabbat services, I have encouraged participants to improve emotional health by sharing with each other what they have done during the week to support their own well-being. Essentially, actions that bring them joy and comfort. Some of their responses have included Jewish cooking with my children, taking long walks while listening to a podcast, cutting my own hair, taking online classes, donating blood, that was mine, watching birds in my new bird feeder, and Zooming with my grandchildren. During these times, we need to be kind to ourselves, maintain social connections, if at all possible, and do whatever we can to promote resilience. I hope each of you will find a way to bring happiness into your life this week while all of us are struggling with living our life fully during a pandemic. I wish you and everyone you love a happy and healthy new year. L'Shana Tova, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Our closing song is a traditional hymn, All the World. Please join with us.
All the world shall come to serve you and bless your glorious name, and your righteousness triumphant, the island shall acclaim. Yea, the people shall go seeking who knew you not before, and the ends of earth shall praise you and tell your greatness o'er. They shall build for you their altars, their idols overthrown, and their graven God shall shame them as they turn to you alone. They shall worship you at sunrise and feel your kingdom's might, and impart your understanding to those astray in night. With the coming of your kingdom, the hills will shout with song, and the islands laugh exultant that they to God belong. And through all your congregations, so loud your praise shall ring, that the utmost people's hearing shall hail you, crowned King.
Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, shetechadesh aleinu shana tova u'mituka, our God and God of our ancestors, eternal God of all generations. May your presence in our lives this new year renew our spirits and renew our strength. May it be a good year. May it be a sweet year. Shana tova tikatevu v'tichatemu. May you be inscribed and sealed for a good year. Shana tova.
Shana
Tamir avodat Israel. Israel Amecha. Karov Echol, Karov Penel Avadecha, V'choneinu. Shefach Rochacha, Aleinu. V'techazeh